All we need to do is take it.
God blessed us with these extraordinary heroes.
Things happening every day.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. After The Boys Season 5, Episode 8 finale, they released the Vought Rising trailer, so we will break it all down. There's a bunch of Easter eggs and references here, and characters that you know from present day on The Boys main series, and things they referenced during the events of Season 5. A lot of the V1 subplot was to set up this Vought Rising teaser. This is where all the memes came from in The Boys Season 5, with the V1 subplot that hijacked The Boys Season 5 and what Clara would have wanted. Even the showrunner got in on some of those memes, because it's what Clara would have wanted. One of the bigger cliffhangers from the end of The Boys Season 5 Episode 8 finale was they don't tell you what happens to Soldier Boy after Homelander put him back in cryo during Episode 7. You don't see Soldier Boy at all during Episode 8, the actual finale. They only reference him a couple times. When people asked Eric Kripke about this, they asked him if during the Vought Rising show, which we know is mostly set during the 1950s in the past, if we're actually going to see Soldier Boy in present day during that, like will they jump backwards and forwards between the different timelines? He said, no comment. Which makes me feel like they're going to pick up in the Vought Rising series with Soldier Boy after the events of Homelander dying during the Boys main series finale, and it'll be the present day, like Vought moving forward in the timeline after Homelander's death. Something will happen and they'll bring him out of cryo and tell him what happened, like, well, your son Homelander is dead, we have to pick up the pieces and move forward now, and Stan Edgar is trying to rebuild Vought. Then they will flash back to the 1950s, and most of the series will take place in the 1950s, as you see during the trailer footage here. But it does sound like some of the series will carry things forward in present day, and that'll be a way to bring back some of the other Boys main actors from the show that survived the events of the finale, because a lot of them are still alive in present day, and there are other spin-offs that are happening in present day, like Soldier Boy will just continue living forward into the future and probably be involved with some of these other spin-offs too.
Offer stands if you change your mind.
So all the trailer footage here takes place in the 1950s, if you couldn't tell, like it's pretty obvious, but they start with the scene of Soldier Boy before he got his powers, it seems like, meeting Stormfront, who's going by the Lady Liberty name here, and she seems like she's hiding her German accent a little in affecting a mid-Atlantic accent. Like she's heavily toned down the Nazi to hide the fact that she came over to the US with her husband Friedrich Vought, who we also see the younger version of in the trailer here as part of Operation Paperclip, which was a thing in real life after World War II. In real life, a bunch of German scientists were brought to the United States through Operation Paperclip, given new identities so that they could work at NASA on rockets because of the space race. In the world of The Boys, they're using that mostly for the advent of the Cold War and the US's fears about the Soviet Union, the Red Scare, so to speak. Literally, episode 1 of the series is called Red Scare. Everybody in America terrified of the Reds, the commies. So the idea in the world of The Boys is that after World War II is done, Operation Paperclip happens, they bring Friedrich Vought over to the United States to create a bunch of American superheroes, and the US military want to stockpile superheroes to fight the Soviet Union. This is how Soldier Boy and his teammates that you see during the trailer, we saw some of them in present day during the events of The Boys Season 5, get their powers. Then there's a couple non-superhero characters that seem like they're investigating a murder mystery during the series. There's some kind of murder mystery subplot involving the superheroes in Vought. Eric Kripke, the showrunner, called the series the Boys version of LA Confidential, or like Chinatown would be like another noir example, where you have Soldier Boy and maybe some of the other superheroes that want to be good actually use their powers to help people, like be good superheroes. But we saw from previous flashbacks in The Boys main series, Stormfront being her old Nazi self as Lady Liberty in the flashback. She's going around killing people, being a normal Nazi like you would expect, just being a terrible person. So maybe the idea here, they're kind of implying from the trailer, that these regular non-superhero characters are investigating the crimes, and then later, Soldier Boy, some of the other superhero characters that aren't in on the secret, start to learn what's really going on, like the shady stuff that Vought is doing, and the shady stuff that Stormfront is doing. We learned a lot about this during present day, the whole idea that Vought does all these shady things and then tries to cover them up, and Stormfront was just part of that. Like, she had all these Nazi plans going on in the background inside of Vought, but Vought was already doing a whole bunch of shady stuff and trying to cover it up. So it seems like a lot of these regular people in the past are just investigating. You have regular police officers, detectives investigating what Vought is doing, and then trying to cover it up.
Who is Stormfront?
Dr. Vaught's wife, Clara. I think you know her as Liberty?
They also said the series would explain how Soldier Boy became so jaded and such a douchebag by present day, where we see him in the flashbacks mostly without his beard, like clean-shaven Jensen Ackles Soldier Boy, and he seems like he genuinely wants to be a good superhero. We learned a little bit more about his backstory during Season 5, Episode 4. It was his brother that initially was part of the military. Maybe he fought during World War II, or he fought during the Korean War, something happened, and he died, and maybe that's why Soldier Boy wanted to become a superhero, so that he could either rescue him, or he was inspired by his brother to be a superhero. I am just assuming that something tragic happens to Soldier Boy's brother, and that's part of his origin story. So my assumption is that when he becomes a superhero, he learns eventually about all the shady stuff that Vought does, and that's what causes him to become very jaded. We also know because of what he told Homelander in present day, he never learned Stormfront used to be a Nazi. Sage was the one that revealed that to him in present day. He only knew her as Clara, Lady Liberty, so during the series, he will never learn that she used to be a Nazi and went by the name Stormfront. Maybe though some other people do, and Stormfront kills them to keep her secret, or Vought has them killed to keep the secret. Most noir stories have downer endings like this, like think Chinatown, LA Confidential. We also see Stormfront using her superpowers to kill someone from the US military who seems really pissed off. Maybe he learns her secret, and she's killing him to keep her secret. There are a couple other familiar faces during the trailer here too. This is Brian J. Smith, you might recognize from Stargate Universe. He seems like he's one of the detectives and people investigating these mystery crimes. Then they jump around a lot in the timeline during the 1950s period. I think every time you see Jensen Ackles Soldier Boy out of costume in plain clothes, it's before he gets his compound V, the V1. There's a real quick flash of Bombsight in his uniform shaking the hand of a woman that we see across the rest of the trailer too. It's not clear what her connection to the program is, but she seems like she's going around with these other non-supers investigating people using this technology here. Maybe she's either the wife or the sister of this African-American test subject getting injected with V1, who we also see attacking other people that are trying to kill him during the trailer too. There's a new TV broadcast with the news station calling the superheroes a gift from God. This is Private Angel. It's not clear what her power is going to be, but she'll be on Soldier Boy's team. The real Stormfront is watching the news. She smiles in a very evil kind of way because she knows exactly how they got their powers, and it had nothing to do with God.
Frederick Vought.
He gave me the first successful V injection.
There was an entire subplot during The Boys Season 5 about God and Homelander and him wanting to become God. They revealed Sage Grove, which we saw a version of in present day, and Stormfront was using to experiment on superheroes. Sage Grove is a psychiatric hospital in Pennsylvania in present day. Online, the hospital claims to offer therapeutic services. However, in reality, the center is a secret facility Vought uses in experiments on civilians to try and create new versions of Compound V. During Season 2, they were using it for the temporary Compound V subplot. It's how they created Cindy. Lamplighter also worked there after he was kicked out of the Seven. Then this person gets a V1 injection. This actually might be the Quinn character that we saw during Season 5, Episode 4 that Soldier Boy was forced to kill and regretted heavily, whose Compound V caused him to become trapped in Fort Harmony, turning him into the fungus creature from The Last of Us and manipulated people's fears. Soldier Boy implied that it was very tragic what happened to him. He was very sad that he died. Like, I'm so sorry that this happened to you. So maybe we're seeing the beginning of that during these scenes here where he gets V'd up and then you see him attacking a whole bunch of other people that are trying to kill him. We get a scene of a soldier fighting in Korea, maybe. It seems like these are Korean characters, so this is more Cold War Korea stuff. The Korean War happened in the 1950s. There are a bunch of police in the city busting into a facility, not sure what's going on here. We find out this African-American woman that we see across the trailer using the sonic weapon to hurt the superheroes because they're weak to the higher frequency. Maybe Quinn busts out of his restraints in Sage Grove, and it seems like a bunch of people are watching him inside this tank here, this containment facility, to try and see what his powers are. Then this person in the glasses that Stormfront shares a knowing look with is meant to be a younger version of Friedrich Vought, her husband during that time, who was also very much a Nazi. Then we see Soldier Boy in his 1950s suit addressing a crowd after he gets his powers. This is what his suit during the 1950s is going to look like. This is Bombsight in his suit. This is Torpedo. We saw an Easter egg for one of his Vought movies in the old folks' home in present day. This is Lady Liberty, the other member of their team. Part of the idea is that Vought tested V1 on many thousands of people, and only 5 people survived the treatment, including these members of the team. That's why they're the members of the team, because they're the only survivors next to Stormfront and the Quinn character that we also see in the trailer. Not totally sure what's happening here, but it seems like the Quinn character, or whoever his name's going to be, inside a bar with a bunch of Vought security guards or mobsters opening fire on him, but his powers protecting him. Then they're making it seem like it's actually Stormfront pretending to be a reporter taking Soldier Boy's picture, and they have the conversation after this at the end of the trailer too. Maybe she's just pretending to be a reporter to hide her identity, and that's just part of the Lady Liberty identity. There's a real quick montage of a bunch of people dying, the superheroes using their powers. It gets nuts. It seems like the Vought scientists try to inject V1 into a cow to test it, and it just bursts like a balloon. There are a lot of V'd up animals in present day during the Boys main series. They mostly use them for comedy. Run! We get another scene of Brian J. Smith at what seems like the police station. I think this just confirms that he's a detective during the series, trying to investigate all this mystery crimes that are happening, until eventually, by the end of the series, they probably learn that Vought is trying to cover everything up. Oh, the superheroes are doing a bunch of shady stuff like they do in present day, and Vought is trying to cover it up in the past like they do in present day. We get another scene of Soldier Boy addressing the crowd after he's got his powers. This seems like relatively soon after he gets his powers. And at the end of the trailer, with Stormfront telling him he's got a bright future, all they need to do is take it, in a very determined kind of tone. She's affecting, like I said, a mid-Atlantic accent, definitely trying to hide her Nazi German accent. The other funny thing about this too, because Soldier Boy never learns that she was a Nazi, is we know he falls in love with her, and they eventually start Herogasm together, so we'll probably also see the origins of Herogasm during season 1. My assumption is this also means that she's hiding the fact that she's married to Friedrich Vought from Soldier Boy too. When she says there's a bright future, all they need to do is take it, we know that's a reference to something that Soldier Boy talked to Homelander about during season 5 when he was explaining what Clara really wanted because of all the memes, and Homelander was the ultimate fulfillment of her Nazi dream. It's just that in the past, Soldier Boy doesn't know that this is a Nazi dream. He explained to Homelander that he could never become what Clara ultimately wanted him to be, the ultimate superhero. So part of the idea is we'll see the beginnings of that during the 1950s here, and why he's ultimately never able to become like the real dark ideal that she wants, and he'll probably learn a little bit about that, but never totally learn the truth that why she wants him to be this crazy superhero. Mostly because he absolutely hates commies and Nazis. Make all the Indiana Jones jokes that you want. Man, I hate those guys. They also implied that Thomas Godolkin from Gen V Season 2 will also show up on the series because he was Vought's lead scientist, helping him formulate V1 and all these other different versions of Compound V, trying to create the ultimate superhero.
It was the brainchild of Thomas Godolkin. His goal was to create God-tier superheroes.
Maybe we'll see by the end of Vought Rising, he will develop the idea for Project Odessa, which eventually becomes Homelander and then Marie Moreau too. But part of the idea is that they didn't come up with the idea to create Homelander until like the 1960s, 1970s at least. So we'll maybe get some teasers for them creating the ultimate superhero, but that's a reference to Homelander, and it's not fulfilled until the 1980s. That's when they actually create Homelander. Everybody post all your reactions in the comments below, and if you spotted any Easter eggs or references in the new trailer footage that I didn't talk about during the video, just write it below in the comments. What'll probably happen is that Amazon will release the shiny HD version of this, or like a slightly different version, in the next couple of weeks or next couple of months, so I'll do more videos for it when they do release official footage. Everybody click here for my Boys Season 5 Episode 8 finale video, and click here for all my other Boys episodes. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.